Hello, my name is Kate, and if you are coming back with me today, you already know that I'm a wedding and portrait photographer, and if you're new here, well, now you do. I've talked a lot over the last month or so about what gear I use, and by now you should know that I use my Canon, my mirrorless, my R6. I dual shoot all the time, and those are my favorite cameras I have ever photographed on, and I thought I might actually talk a little bit more today about why I love those cameras, because I've photographed with Nikon gear for 15 plus years. I thought I was a lifer with it. I started with the Nikon D90, and then I upgraded to the D3200, I believe, and then it's just slowly progressed over the years. And while I absolutely loved my Nikon, and there's nothing wrong with it, I decided 2 years ago that I needed to get lighter gear because I was shooting with the D750, and it was a lot of weight, especially when you throw a flash on the top as well. So I wanted lighter weight, and I decided to make the investment of going mirrorless. And while I was doing the research on it, I was really hoping I could stick with Nikon because I didn't want to change all my glass over, because that's a serious investment. Countless hours of research on Google, on YouTube. I watched so many hours of content on the pros and cons and what people liked, what people didn't like. And I hate to say, I was leaning towards the Canon for a little while. I felt like their focal system was superior to the Nikon. The facial tracking was like amazing, because if you miss a focus on any photo, you've lost it instantly. So I really liked that. And then I decided, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna pop down to Henry's down in Vancouver, and I wanted to actually hold them, because that can make or break things. Because honestly, that's what actually started me out on Nikon, is I preferred the feel of it in my hands over the Canon. I didn't like it at the time. So I went down to Henry's and I tried them out, and I didn't like the feel of the Nikon. It felt, I didn't like it compared to the Canon. So I held the Canon, I liked the Canon, it was super lightweight, and that was 100%, that was absolutely amazing for me. And it was a dual card slot, and as a wedding photographer, as any photographer, that dual slot is so valuable, because you instantly have a backup all the time, depending on how you set your gear up, but that's what I do. So there was no chance I was ever getting a camera with a single card slot. For me, one of the biggest selling features for the Canon mirrorless was the lightness, the lightweight, and that was amazing. And what really stole the show was the focal. However, when you talk about lightweight, it was the body might be super light. It's only 1.5 pounds with a battery in that, so that's phenomenal. And when I'm shooting with my 35mm lens on it, it's considerably light, and that's why I like that as my travel pack. However, if I add on my 28-70, which is a beast of a lens, it's 3.15 pounds. You add that onto the back of a camera body that's only 1.5 pounds, and it is very end heavy. So not only are you doing this all day, because you're changing from vertical to horizontal shots, so doing this for 8 to 10 hours, like, that is a lot of strain on your wrist. And that was my problem, is I was getting wrist issues with my heavier gear. So I've now added on this beast of a lens, because you can't actually change the weight of glass. It's lovely having the light weight of the camera body, but having the heavy glass changed things. So when I purchased this 28-70 over the summer, I had to purchase a battery grip as well, which added even more weight to it. But it was the only way that I wasn't holding my camera like this and straining to hold that front end up. So even now, like, I will always hold it with one hand like this, and then this will be my free hand, if you will. So this is holding my weight, because I can't possibly hold it with one hand, which is kind of a downside. I do typically stabilize with my second hand anyway. However, the lightweight was a lovely feature, but it's kind of deceiving when you get your glass in there as well. Like I said, there are a couple pros and cons, and things that I love about it, things that I kind of wish would change. Nothing enough that would make me want to switch out from this camera. One of the biggest things I love, like I said, was the focus on it. I have an amazing setup on this for focus, and I will show you a little bit. I won't show you how to do it, because I'll do that in another video. So if I show you the back of my camera here, I've actually got it set up so I've got 3 focus options on the back, which is so amazing. So I've got my star here, I've got it set up as autofocus. So that will automatically focus on the face, which is really cool. Especially when I've got lots and lots of movement in every photograph. That is so amazing. So then I've got my AFN button here set as my single point focus. So I can switch between those two. It's so fast and it's super duper easy. And then I can touch my LED screen, and that will also give me another focus option. So that was huge for me, because going from the Nikon, yes, I had it set up for a great focus, but this is far superior. One thing that I really love and think is amazing about this camera is it's completely customizable. I can change all the buttons to be exactly what I want them to be. So for instance, and something you'll notice that I absolutely love about the LED screen on the back, it will actually change to the exposure that you have got all of your settings to. So I've got this little dial here. I've got this set up for my shutter speed. So you'll see it change, which is really cool. I've got this little top dial here that is set up here for my ISO so that I have complete control of that. And then this top button here, I've got set up for my f-stop. So I have complete control right here of everything that I need. And then if I have to pop into my white balance, I can just press this little Q button, hit set, and then I can change my dial there. So, and then I'll just click at the top and that will take me right out. So those are some of my on-camera settings that I absolutely love. I also find it really great in low light situations, especially when I pair it with some of my other glass. I've got my 85mm 1.2, I've got a 50mm 1.2, and I'm gonna go into detail on those and what I use them for in later videos. The low light is phenomenal. The ISO, honestly, I actually can't remember what it goes up to. My ISO goes up to 10,000. Oh, no, it goes up to 102,400. That is like insane. Like I can't even imagine the grain that comes through on those images. However, you can really bump your ISO quite high before that grain really overpowers an image. So having that capability paired with some great glass is powerful, especially when you're photographing weddings and such like that. I personally prefer not to add on flash unless I need to. I like to just really keep the ambiance of the space as true to what it actually felt like at the time. I will add in flash if I need to, and I'll have complete control of that because I use my Pro Photo, the A1, and that is just flawless. I can go through that in another video if that's something you'd be interested in. So those paired together, absolutely amazing capabilities, and I would not ever change my gear unless to upgrade it from this point on. There are two things that kind of frustrate me a little bit with it. While I do like having these top buttons where they are, one thing I preferred on my Nikon is the on-off button was actually where my thumb is. So that was just an extra little thing because then I can shoot one-handed. I didn't have to bring in a second hand just to turn it off and on. So that kind of frustrates me. It always has to be a second step that I have to do before I do any photos. Not a big deal, just a little pet peeve of mine. Now that I'm used to it, it's not a big deal, but when I first started out, it drove me a little crazy. The only other thing that kind of makes it a little bit difficult, I'll show you here. I have it typically set up so I shoot from my LCD screen. I do prefer that. However, when you put your face up to the eye detection, it will automatically detect and go through that viewfinder. So that is really cool, especially on a sunny day if I'm having struggles to expose properly. For my LCD screen, I can go up and I can just pop my eye in there. Wonder if that will actually work. Oh yeah, look at that. It's not focused, but you can see how it just automatically pops in. However, if I'm photographing in a tight space, or I have just something going on behind it, it will automatically switch over to the eye detection, and then I'll lose my LCD screen. So if I'm in a small space and I'm like up against a wall like this, for instance, then I can't actually see. So I have to pull out my the screen, which is really handy to have also. That's another pro, and I can just rotate that, so it's super good. That's actually something that I should have mentioned as another pro, is I love having that screen because when I do self-portraits, because as a photographer, you clearly have to show your face all the time on your feeds and stuff. So I can just pop this screen over and I've got complete access. I can see exactly what's going on. That paired with my little Bluetooth remote, it's a breeze. It's absolutely amazing. It was a very, very huge step up from the Nikon that I was using because it was not even worth taking self-portraits, to be honest. Now it's just super easy. So that being said, I absolutely love my R6 and I have two of them. I dual shoot all the time. I've got multiple lenses. Check back next week. I'm gonna talk more about my glass that I use, the lenses. I've got a big selection and I am very happy with everything that I've purchased, and I'm going to tell you what I use them for, why I use them, and what I like and don't like about those also. So check back and there will be more coming for you.